Okay, so there's an update. There's an update to the lecture that we just did on A-Trak snitching on himself, right? And admitting that he did not invent Skratch notation in the late 90s, like his Wikipedia says right here. I want to give a big shout out to one of our subscribers, one of our students. Let me see. Let me go back. So yeah, shout out to Emmanuel Mariani. Right, and so yeah, shout out to Manuel. He said actually that paper was already featured in Turntable TV 6, issued not earlier than 1998, the one where Qbert a Yoga Frog flew to Italy to judge the 1997 DMC World Championship. One part of it was about A-Trak in his hotel room, describing his notation paper, of which only he has the key, right? So now we're going to go to that. So this, 100% supports my thesis from this first video that A-Trak finally admits he did not invent Skratch notation and tells fans the truth. So so this is the paper that he was using in that 97 DMC, and Emmanuel was able to recall an old video, old Turntable TV video that actually also had A-Trak admitting this in the actual 90s when he was a kid, right? And so we're going to go to that. So we're going to analyze that. And this is, we're finally getting the proof in. All of the proof is finally rolling in that A-Trak's Wikipedia that says right here in the late 1990s, A-Trak developed a notation system for scratching. That is fake, that this is a lie, right? That A-Trak has been lying in his press releases for over like 24 years, right? It's been 24 years of lies, right? But so we have the proof right here. We're going to play it, all right? So we got the proof that A-Trak did not invent a notation system. He was just writing down the names of scratches, right?
What do you got there?
And that's not a notation system.
It's my lists. Until Yoga Frog told me that you name your scratches, I always thought I was the only one. Mm-hmm. What I do is I have these.
So this is Qbert asking him, "What's this paper about?" So let's go back.
Lumi. DJ Lumi. Yes. Oh, fresh. Okay. What do you got there?
It's my lists. Until Yoga Frog told me that you name your scratches, I always thought I was the only one. Mm-hmm. What I do is I have these lists of all my scratches, and when I build routines for the competitions like this one, first I write down all the tricks I want to use.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we know that this is the exact same list. So you can see it says flare right here, flare, and then something unintelligible, and then some scribbles, right? Like not actual scribble notation, but actual scribbled out words. So let's click back to over here. And you can see the same thing. We see flare, right? We see flare, and then it was saying crab transform, and then some scribbled out words. So this is the exact same piece of paper. So shout out to Emmanuel, yeah. All right, so let me see. Let's go back. All right.
Then I put them in order for each sound, and this is how it finishes.
Wow, so that's good.
Each trick has a name.
So for those people that don't understand the importance of this video, this is super, super important. He's saying that each trick has a name. So there's no scratch notation here. You don't see a flare scratch drawn out like he presented at ScratchCon after he saw my notation and saw my whole book and copied the whole thing in his scratch lecture at ScratchCon. So you can see right here, it's, these are just written down words. People are, this isn't scratch notation. So look at here. So we have the proof that in the late 1990s, A-Trak developed not a notation system for scratching. He just wrote down his word. He just wrote down, the names of cuts, and he gave cuts its own names. So that's not a notation system, because a notation system is something that other people can use and understand. And it's not cryptic like this, and you're gonna see that this is a cryptic language. Watch.
Some names are like vague and stuff. Mm-hmm.
Like only you know the names, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
Only I know the key.
So he says only he knows the key, right? So he knows, it's like when it says, "Oh, Snake Eyes." So we all know Snake Eyes is a dope turntablist who's known for wearing the snake eye. What do you call the eye contacts, right? but we don't know which snake eye technique he's talking about, because Snake Eye had a lot of dope techniques. He, you know, especially a lot of dope juggle techniques, right? But we see it's like Snake Eye's volume technique, so we know it might be some type of Euro scratch type of thing, or maybe it's, you know, but yeah. So, you know, so we can see right here that this is the proof. So yeah, shout out, you know, once again, shout out to this cat right here, Manuel. Sorry I called you Emmanuel, but Manuel. Shout out to Manuel. You know, yeah. So, you know, we have the proof right here, and you know, it's the case is sealed. It's a done deal. The truth is finally out there. We can see that this is what he had in the 90s, and he was writing down the names of scratches. He had no system of notation before he saw my notation, and then made a presentation about it the same day. All right, in 2000. So there's no A-Trak scratch notation in the 90s, and we have 100% proof now, because we had the proof with him admitting to it on Instagram, but now we actually have the actual video of him showing that there was no scratch notation in his possession in the 90s. All right, and then I think this is going to be him actually. So this is actually him using it. So you can see, like that sounded like some chirp flares. We're going to go through his cuts. Right, some 2-click orbis. What are the? He sounds like he's twiddling it, but he might not be twiddling it. Yeah, he's twiddling it. Got some transforms in there, you know. Nice, some 2-clickers in there. Two-click variations. Remember, there's a lot of different types of 2-click variations. Alright, so y'all can see right here, he's got it right there in front of him. Same thing he had at DMC. He showed it to Qbert. It does not have scratch notation on it. There's no waves, there's no clicks, there's no, you know what I'm saying, there's no TTM scratch notation on it, like how he presented at ScratchCon. So he was, you know, clearly trying to take this and say, use that as a you know, embellishing, basically, you know, obviously lying, but, you know, some people would call it embellishing. Is a nice way to say it. He, you know, he took it too far, right? He embellished the fact that he had scratches written down, the names of scratches, and then he told the people on Wikipedia, you know, he had his Wikipedia person write these lies that said in the 1990s, A-Trak developed a notation system for scratching, right? We have no proof of that. And then look what it's backed up by. Let's see, what is it backed up by? So back to an online turntable music resource, A-Trak spin, right? And if you go to my TTM, you know, it's all crazy. Like, you know, John Carluccio's like trying to erase stuff and switch stuff around. You guys should definitely go check out the history of the TTM Wikipedia. Like, this German guy deleted it years back, and John was fine with it being deleted years back. I'm the one that got it reinstated, right? And all the you know, a lot of the 100 Days of TTM people that made software stuff, I cited everybody in there, and they erased, John and them erased all that stuff. So they're constantly, you know, John's erasing history. Alex Sonnenfeld's been caught in erasing history. We're going to be going into that in future lectures. And we're catching A-Trak erasing history. So this is part 2, or not just erasing history, I'm sorry, lying about history, which is called an anachronism. So anachronism, for those that don't know, is when you're playing with history for your own personal gain. So this is an anachronism, right? Anachronistic, right? So we see that here, yeah. So let's play a little bit more of this. All right, so let's run that back. Let's look at this thing one more time, and we're going to look at it a little bit closer. I'm going to go back to where this is. All right.
Champion, what's your name?
Zoom
DJ
in a little bit
Illumi?
more.
Oh, fresh. Okay.
All right. So
What do you got there?
Zoom in.
It's my lists. Until Yoga Fuck told me that you name your scratches, I always thought I was the one.
So you see, Qbert was naming his scratches. People were writing down stuff back in the day. You know, we were all writing down things. You know, in the 90s, people were writing stuff down. But as far as Skratch Notation, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm the one that dropped Skratch Notation in my first 2 books, right? And then I dropped, and you know, after my first 2 books, then A-Trak tried to plagiarize my whole legacy and take my system and merge it into this thing.
What I do is I have these lists of all my scratches, and when I build routines for the compositions like this one, first I write down all the tricks I want to use. Then I put them in order for each sound, and this is how it finishes.
Wow,
So
that's good.
It's hard to see these, but you can see it's the same sheet of paper. Right, we can see it's the same sheet of paper. I was just zooming in so we can verify that it's actually the exact same piece of paper. So this is the exact same piece of paper, and this looks like a real piece of paper, while remember the other piece of paper that's supposedly connected with this doesn't look very real. So let's go back to the other thing that doesn't have any date. We never seen it in a video. Let me see, it should be over here. Let's go a little bit forward. And shout out to everybody that's been supporting. So yeah, we're back. I took a hiatus, had a lot of legal paperwork and stuff like that I was doing. So I had to take, you know, a whole year off basically. It was, you know,
I retired my
discovery is pretty intense. So let's turn that off. This commercial, these stupid commercials. All right, so let's keep playing. But yeah, so yeah, discovery was pretty intense. All that stuff's over, so we're back. You know, we're back, and I'm gonna be dropping, you know, a lot of stuff, and we're not gonna be stopping. You know, there's a lot of things, you know, in turntablism and hip hop as a whole. We're gonna be actually transcribing "They Not Like Us," you know, because you know I transcribed some old school rap stuff, and what happened is, you know, I think I did that whatchamacallit, MC Light, right? I transcribed it using lyrical transcription methodology, another system I invented for rap notation. So we're going to be covering that this year. But what's crazy is that when I transcribed it, I feel like MC Light's people blocked it in some countries, right? So at least with the Kendrick track, nobody's blocking it. Everybody's allowed to upload it and monetize it. So I'm gonna do a lyrical transcription methodology rendering of the classic #1 single, Kendrick Lamar single, "They Not Like Us," that, like I was saying in the last video, totally changed hip hop and created a vortex to where, you know, consciousness is back now. All right, and so this is the one that he's uploaded to the net, but we have no verification on this, and we've never seen this in real life. So if you're a, you know, super big maybe Turntable TV fan, or you know, somebody that's seen all the videos, you know, maybe you can actually find him talking about this or something. But this might not have ever been exposed to the public, and this might be you know, somewhat manipulated too, because it just looks like when we were saying in this video, the first part 1 of this series, you know, it just looks kind of strange. And we're going to be talking about the Sedgwick flyer too, because the Sedgwick flyer, we're going to be doing a whole lecture on that very soon, because the Sedgwick, probably next week, the Sedgwick flyer that everybody thinks is real has been found to have been a fake. The woman that Kool Herc's sister admits that it was a replica and that she had somebody made it. And Clark Kent said he was never even on that flyer. But that's a whole nother issue. So we're going to be talking about, you know, the fake Sedgwick thing, because we actually went to the real birthplace of hip-hop, which is Bronxdale Projects. Bronxdale Projects is where hip-hop started. Don't let people lie to you, right? But we're going to go into all that stuff in the future. We're going to go into the Bambaataa stuff and Zulu Nation stuff, and, you know, and how that really even relates to all this. Because like I was saying before, you know, Qbert's part of Zulu Nation, and we're going to be going into all the secrets that people have been keeping, right? Yeah, so yeah, we see right here, there's this. and we have no proof of this one, but he released this about 3 years ago in 2021 on Instagram, right? But let's just play this again.
Like, name.
It's good.
Each trick has a name. Some names are like vague and stuff. Like
only.
Oh, and it's cool that you see that toasted marshmallow breaks in the background. You see that I got this. I'm pretty sure that's toasted marshmallow breaks. It's funny because nobody ever sends me vinyl. So all my vinyl is pretty much from the 90s, Mr. Dibs and Pickle stuff, and, most of my stuff's from the 90s. You would think people would send me, like, skipless stuff. What's interesting is that I actually supported Cut and Paste on Kickstarter when they first came out, and Cut Class actually came to my house, and I actually didn't get my vinyl in the mail because I actually had the wrong address in there. I actually had the wrong address. It was like this old address that I used to live in, and so it got sent there, and obviously stolen or taken or whatever. It got sent to the wrong address, and Cut Class had come through my studio to scratch, and he didn't give me a promo. I was like, yo, I didn't get it in the mail, it got messed up. And he had a whole crate of records with him that he was dropping off at record stores in his visit to America, in Canada too, I guess. He was coming over here to meet up with record stores or whatever, and and I would have been scratching with his stuff in a million videos, but yeah, he never sent me one. Nobody ever sends me stuff. So if you want to send me stuff, just holler at me, DM, and if you send me stuff, I'll do reviews of your record. I'm gonna start doing record reviews, vinyl reviews, but also to all the Kickstarter supporters, we're gonna be dropping vinyl this year. But I'm also gonna be showing something very important, which is we're going to be talking about morality issues. That's why I wanted to talk about this, the toasted marshmallow breaks thing, because it's not necessarily that vinyl. I forget which vinyl it is, but we're going to be talking about some lewd covers that the Pickles dropped and some other people dropped and stuff like that, Battle Axe and things like that. And we're just going to be talking about the morality issues in turntablist battle record covers, right? And when I mean covers, I mean the cover art. Not covers, like music covers.
Some names are like vague and stuff. Like
only the names, huh?
Yeah.
That's good.
So that's the most important part. The names are vague and only he knows the name. So this is clearly not a notation system. It's clearly him writing down the names of scratches, which is called taxonomy. Taxonomy is just organizing stuff using words. It's using vocabulary. So he created his own vocabulary in the 90s, not a notation system, right? So we know. So if you're a Wikipedia admin, you can go in there, you have the proof and the citations to be able to change this, because let's see, what is this thing? Online Turntable Music Resource, A-Trak Spin Science, November 19, 2004, archive from the original. What is this original? Let's click on that. What's the original? Let's see. Lori Fenty, make a mistake to do something right. Home, contact. Things I'm doing. So you see how weird this is? Oh, this is supposed to be the original. This isn't even a source, right? Meanwhile, I can't even post the truth on the actual TTM Wikipedia page, right? And you see this source that I just clicked on is like, something that's not even together, It's like, it's not even a source, it's just a blog. So how is just a random blog, and there's no mention of A-Trak in here. I don't see, I'm scanning. Took a speed reading class back in the day in school. It actually messed me up because now it's hard for me to regular read. I'm just always kind of speed reading. But ever since I took that class in like junior high, it kind of made me just kind of speed read everything. But yeah, you see that. So I clicked on that. Let's see. Let me try the other link in it. So I clicked on that one. It says the original. So there's no original there. Let's see what this online turntable music resource A-Trak. What's this? Let's see. Okay, here's an actual link. Oh, okay, this is the Wayback Machine. Wayback Machine is great because you can find these links, right? And then this is him talking about it. So let's see. Let's try to see if I can find the keyword notation up in here. We'll see if that speed reading class is coming around. And usually that he would probably say it in the front. Okay, so yeah, so here we go. So what made you, so yeah, so it's talking about notation system. All right, so I found it. All right, and we're gonna read this. All right, let's see. What made you create your own notation system? Let me look a little bit ahead if he talks about notation system before that. Nah, I'm just gonna start right here. It says, I never really set out to do it voluntarily. At first, I was jotting down some ideas, and one day I drew some scratches that I needed to remember for a studio session. And later on, I realized I was onto something, and I decided to build on that idea and make a complete notation system. When? All right, right? Because we only have proof after he saw my notation system, and he admits it, right? We saw that in the last video. All right, so yeah, well, I was saying earlier, I think Carluccio's and my system are so similar at this point that people might as well consider it as universal. So he's admitting, because, you know, for those that don't know, John Carluccio was the publisher of my second book, and he tried to claim my system and say it was his, when actually he had nothing to do with it. He had nothing to do with anything of my system, right? Him and Ethan did try to add some symbols in that book, like all those symbols at the end of the book where it's just like these random symbols. Him and Ethan, you know, added some of those symbols, but nobody uses those symbols. You know, people use what I wrote in my first two books, which is the line symbol and the click symbols, right? That's all you need, and some open fader symbols if you need them, you know. But they're very, very useful. People that don't understand why open fader symbols are very useful, or people that don't understand the difference between a baby scratch and a slice, because a baby scratch and a slice should technically sound the same, but they don't, because the baby scratch is open fader and the slice is closed fader, but they're basically the same thing. But if you notate those and you're not using a open fader symbol, then they look the same, right? The difference between a slice and a baby scratch are going to look basically exactly the same. Just like maybe like if you're doing a crescent flare versus transforming, you know, crescent flare sounds like transforming, but it's not, you know, and you need the open fader symbol on it, because if you don't have the open fader symbol there, then it just looks like you're transforming, right? Okay, so now, all right, so let's read this. So yeah, well, as I was saying earlier, I think Carluccio's and my system are so similar at this point that people might as well consider it universal. Radar system, in my opinion, he's talking about DJ Radar and antimatter, like I was talking about in the last thing, but Radar didn't actually do that system, that classical music system. It was just Raoul that did it, and Radar was performing it. But like Carluccio, Radar tried to take credit from it. In my opinion, it could be useful in communicating with other musicians to describe the rhythm of a scratch solo, but it doesn't explain how a scratch is done. I think it's still useful, but in a different way. So he was talking about it earlier in that. Let's see. Oh, okay. So I skipped ahead. Okay, so yeah. Let me just backtrack back. I'm skipping ahead. So what made you want to create your own notation system? I'll just read this again. I never really set out to do it voluntarily. At first, I was just jotting down some ideas, and one day I drew some scratches that I needed to remember for a studio session. Later on, I realized it was onto something. Blah, blah, blah. So we said that, all right. How did you go about creating it? I know from having seen some of it in the first issue of Tableist Mag that it holds similarities with John Carluccio's system, but seems to have been simplified. Was that because you had seen this before, or did you just happen to come up with something similar? Ah, see, he had him a good question. Had you seen it before? So he didn't answer that. Let's see if he answers that, right? Because that's my system. He saw it before. He admitted it that he saw it before his first presentation in the last video. It's very similar to John Carluccio's TTM system, right? This is my system that John Carluccio tried to claim. And for those that don't know, I severed ties with John Carluccio maybe, I don't know, 2008 or something like that, or 2000, something like that. And he was just like, you know, giving all my designs to this Flash programmer guy and wiping my name off of everything. And he even had a fake email up of my name on a website that didn't forward to me, like, you know, reach John Radon at battlesounds.com or something, and it would just go to him. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how how much lack of creativity these people have. And remember, John Carluccio can't scratch, he can't read music, He didn't do any of it. You know, he just ripped some of you know, the ASCII phonics descriptions and put those descriptions next to my designs. So if you're a writer and a writer is teaming up with Nikola Tesla to talk about his designs, that writer that's talking about Nikola Tesla's designs is not the designer of Nikola Tesla's work. So, you know, John had nothing to do with TTM. So, in fact, it's the same idea interpreted in our own way. What? No, it's you stole it. I definitely had never seen his system. I had never seen his system. He's lying. See, we saw him on the tape saying he said he had seen it. You know, for those that didn't see the last video, you can refer to that. And I'm sure he hadn't seen mine either. Of course he hadn't, because you had nothing. We just saw that you had words written on paper and you had no system. Just a pretty intuitive interpretation, and we both came up with it around the same time, right? Doesn't that sound suspicious? When he first came out with the pamphlet a few years ago, I thought they were overcomplicating a few things, like notating juggles, or the way they had different symbols for open fader or closed fader. But I just saw the new issue of Skratch magazine, and the way he does it now is extremely similar to mine. Seems like he took away the extra stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? No, your system is based on my system. It's very simple. It's just the movement of the fader over time, and if if the sound is off, you don't see it, you know. So have you been using the system yourself and implementing it in your work? Have you refined it since you first came up with it? This is a great question. And if so, in what ways? Notice he hasn't. Notice he's never ever refined it, because he just copied he saw my book, admitted that he saw my book, and presented that. Honestly, I haven't used it as much in the last few years, and I can't say that I changed it since ScratchCon. See, right? Conference celebrating the Turntable Art Forum in 2000 and the Tableist article. Remember, Tableist magazine was the Allies magazine. His DJ crew put out that magazine. It was a couple of issues. But I still think it's very useful for someone who's learning how to scratch or actively come up with new patterns. Right? How come he's not teaching it? How come he's never written down anything new except that one day? I just think in the last few years I've been focusing on building routines and recording, etc. And when I practice my cuts, it's more to tighten them and work on different flows rather than being like, I must invent a new pattern this week. So I will actually go out as far to say this. At this time, and whenever this article was, let's see, April 2nd, 22. No, wait. It was captured on that, but it's from December 2005. So I will admit, in December 2005, you know, A-Trak could murk me scratching, right, in 2005. But in 2024, I will take out A-Trak scratching. I'll take out Cray scratching, actually. Not juggling. I haven't been practicing juggling. I'm about to start practicing juggling again, but I'm at the point where, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not trying to battle Q, but I can take out A-Trak. I can easily take out A-Trak scratching, and I can take out Cray scratching. So, you know, I do challenge you, A-Trak, to a scratch battle. You know what I'm saying? I challenge you to a scratch battle. Really, I'll even challenge you to a full-out juggle battle, too. Because, you know, your juggles are ill from, you know, back in the day, but, you know, I can do those things that you were doing, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you were doing Kintaro stuff, you know, and you were never, you know, on the level that Craze was, you know what I'm saying? But juggling aside, scratching, I can totally destroy A-Trak. Yeah, you know, A-Trak might be able to pull some ill juggles out, but, you know, scratching, I will destroy A-Trak, and yeah, and you know, if A-Trak, you're hearing this, you know, let's battle. But I know you're scared to, because you're worth 12 million, and it would only hurt your career like Drake. All right, so, but yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. In the past, you know, I've talked about how even though somebody could be a legend, you know, right now in 2024, you know, Jose Rodriguez can take him out. Dejaculate can take out A-Trak. You know, E-Prom can take out A-Trak scratching. There's a million DJs that can take out A-Trak scratching. Flip Flop can take out A-Trak scratching. My homie Disciple out of that same area, out of the West Coast, can take out A-Trak scratching. There's a million people can take out A-Trak scratching right now. It's not just me. You know what I'm saying? There's literally, you know, 20 DJs right now that can take them out easily. Really, actually 30, probably 40 DJs can take out A-Trak scratching, you know. Because at that point in time, those scratches were everything was super advanced. Now that everybody's been able to study TTM and study my system, study the matrix, you see where, you know, how the high levels that things are going on, especially like Kin-Won Tokyo, you know, his two students, I forget those two kids' names, but, you know, those two students that Kin-Won Tokyo was able to cultivate. You know, they were killing stuff at NAM. They were destroying everybody at NAM, and they're all TTM trained. They were destroying everybody. They're like, you know, young teenagers. So shout out to those kids from Japan. I forget their names. Yeah, and they just won a battle. They won that. I think they won that battle, and they were battling each other at NAM. So it says, you are the only major figure along Radar and Carluccio. You notice how my name is rubbed out. They were trying to rub it out of history at this point, 2005. You know, you're the only major figure alongside Radar and Carluccio in the world for turntables and DJing to have come out openly with the system for notation. That's false, because even at that time, Steven Weber had a whole system that he had in a book of classical music notation, because Radar never put out a whole book of it. Yeah, nearly after, and then, you know, Alex Sonnenfeld was nowhere to be heard around here, but now Alex Sonnenfeld's trying to come out and say he had his whole system way back then, and, you know, with no proof. So we're going to go into the Sonnenfeld stuff too, and the Qbert video where Qbert says he's black, right? Because there's a video where Sonnenfeld gets basically he gets bigoted and starts saying, I'm not going to use the R word because that's bad for the algorithms. He gets bigoted and starts, he tells Qbert, you know, I thought when he heard Dr. Octagon, he thought Qbert was black because of the way he was scratching, and he thought only black DJs could scratch like that. And that's a very bigoted term, because that's like saying, you know, oh, I saw you hit that 3-pointer and I assumed you were black because, you know, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's totally, and then Qbert's like, yeah, I am black, you know, so it's like, you know, we're going to talk about that, because that might be Craze's next diss in his next song, you know, be a perfect thing to sample. And shout out to Craze for actually sampling Qbert and being able to take tablism to the next level and actually use, you know, and taking production into the next level too, and actually use quotes from somebody to destroy them, you know. So yeah, yet after nearly 4 to 5 years of such systems existing, it seems that they haven't really picked up with DJs, apart from being useful teaching tools for classes and workshops. Do you agree that it probably will take more time for a unified system to really become widely implemented by DJs and artists worldwide as a communication tool and a way to archive and keep track of musical development and happenings? A-Trak says, yeah. Well, as I was saying earlier, I think Carlish is my system are so similar. Yeah, so we already read that. All right. So will you be making your system available to the public in the future? Do you want to? I'd love to. I've been saying that for years. I want to write a book about Skratch notation. I just haven't had the time. See? Because he stole it. You know, he got $12 million. He could easily have somebody write something up for him real quick. It would take no time at all. Take no money at all. Right now, I'm too busy with my current projects to even start thinking about it. That I've kind of put the whole idea in the back burner, but I can hope to bring it back soon. So there you have it. You can catch A-Trak touring, blah, 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 blah. Right. So that's it. All right. We got the proof right here. So he was lying in that whole article. We have the proof right here. All right. That's it. Peace, y'all.